We're not over here to interfere with the Irish trade union movement, Irish movement on the Constitution. We're here to give you what our analysis is of the British trade union movement regarding the European Union. Obviously you'll make your own decisions. I was at the Irish Trade Union Congress in Bondoran. I heard the debates that was taking place. I was also at SIPSU's conference in Tralee a couple of months ago, and I've heard debates. And some people might say, why is a railway union, a seafarers union, so uptight about the European Constitution? Well, I'll be straight with you, because when one goes onto our website, we've always been opposed, not just to this Constitution, we've been opposed to the European Union, and we've been opposed to the Treaty of Rome. That's our position. We're not saying that if you're opposed to the European Constitution, you have to be opposed to all the rest of the parts of it. But we do honestly believe that there's a fundamental change taken place since the European Union was set out. You see, first of all, Schuman, when he set out in detail what he wanted from a European Union, his words was that it was on the basis that he believed that it was to stop socialism spreading. His socialism, of course, he was frightened of, wasn't the social democratic socialism, he was frightened of the Soviet Union. And the reality was that the European countries who come together had to say to themselves, how do we build a social model as well as a political financial bloc? Financial bloc being the European Union, but also that was concerned about was the social element. Why in the Soviet Union people got better healthcare, why in the Soviet Union people got housing, jobs and so on. Of course, whatever people like to say about the Soviet Union was that once the Soviet Union went, that opened up a complete new frontiers for privatisation. And when people talk about globalisation, that's all it really means, is extracting from the markets where they can make money at the expense of a few for the many. And what we face ourselves up with now is that the social dimension's gone, because you can't have a situation where people have those benefits and still compete against the rest of the global world. For example, in China and Malaysia, in our seafaring industries, we have people working in the ships with a British flag. We've been flagged out to a country, could be Grand Cayman, could be Bermuda. I've never been to Grand Cayman or Bermuda, but they tell me if you walk down the roads out there, you see loads and loads of brass plaques on people's walls. Well, they just name a company and register it for that house. Never go there anymore, purely for tax and purposes. And we've got people now working for $2 a day. That's the reality that Indonesian seafarers are working for. We went and see our shipping minister, who said, yes, Bob, it is wrong that these people get paid $2 a day, but when they go back to their own country, they live like lords. That's what his view was. We said to him that we believed our job was raising living standards for all workers throughout the world, not just in Great Britain, but throughout the across the world as well. Workers of the World Unite is not just a slogan, but we believe Workers of the World Unite is our slogan as a union, but also we believe that is the slogan that we want to emanate throughout the course of the peace. And what we're facing up with now is that this Constitution is being flogged to people on the basis that it's not really much change from the previous one. That's what they're saying. It's being put to people. They will tell you that you have the right to strike. You will have the right to strike, that is true, if national law says that you've got the right to strike. So in Great Britain, a lot of people have been saying, well, you'll get the right to strike. He's saying people who say you've got the right to strike, the first people to attack you when you go on strike, and secondly, probably never been on strike in their lives. But of course, it's a chicken and egg situation. Once you get the right to strike in Europe, you then got to go back to the national level, your own country, domestic law, to get the right to strike. And of course, in Great Britain, you haven't got the right to go and strike, and there's no intentions of the Brown government, the Blair government, having the right to strike. In fact, Blair, before he took over as Prime Minister, said that even with the change of legislation he was bringing in, a very moderate change of legislation, that Britain would have the most flexible laws in Western world. When he means flexible, he means basically no rights whatsoever for workers. So that's what we're faced up with. And the reality is this, is that we personally believe that people nearest to decision making should make the decision. And what I would say to people is that whether you like that government or not, which I don't particularly like, one iota, whether you like the Tory government or the other people in there, the British people, through the ballot box, elected them. And we personally believe that the people in that government should make all decisions governing people. And if people don't like the decisions, then you scrub them at the next general election and you put a new lot of people in. Because the 94 directive on the railways made it quite clear that the operational side and the maintenance of the railways had to be split. There had to be two lots of accounts. That you can't have monopolies under the European Constitution, under the European Union. Monopolies go. That's why the BBC is going to be split. That's why you're seeing the post office now being completely privatised in Great Britain. That's why there's a massive assault now on pensions, because the fact is, because they're in competition with places like China and Malaysia who haven't got pensions, then you can't have pensions in this country. And you're seeing an assault now on welfare benefits, because people outside the European Union don't get welfare benefits, and then there's an assault taking place on those issues concerned. And the reality is, it is a constitution which cements further privatisation for all of the industries that we stand for. Now, either we stand for public industries, but not just public industries, as we would see in Britain. I mean, the coal board was a public industry. The railways was a public industry. The steel was a public industry. They was nationalised. I won't say they was very socialist about them. I would argue the case it was state capitalism. The same people that was there in the private companies continue to run them in the public sector. They even got compensation for running the same industries. In the British Railways, for example, they've received now 20 billion sterling of public subsidy after the railways have been sold off. Now, if I went down O'Connell Street tonight and ordered fish and chips and said to the waiter, "Excuse me, how much are your fish and chips?" and she said, "No, we're paying you to eat fish and chips in here," you think they've gone mad. But that's what they've done to the railways. Not only have they given them mass amounts of money, they've given them a subsidy on top. And that's because they want to break it up and break these industries up. And really, the situation is quite clear, is that we're being denied a referendum in Great Britain. And we've been denied a referendum because the government is petrified it will lose. All the polls tell us that some 68 to 70 to 72% of people want to vote against it. And what he's going to do, in our opinion, he's going to try and get a Senate through Parliament. He's going to have problems with that. But the reality is that he's in so much bad credibility at the moment, he could do anything. Our best hope we see at the moment is that the Irish people have an opportunity to vote in a referendum. And that's why we honestly believe that if we can continue to support, which in our view is the best view, is for this constitution to be dumped, we believe by Ireland dumping it, that's a golden opportunity for it being dumped completely across Europe. I would say that I'm a person who's not come here and says, you know, ain't this the same views that the Sun newspaper's got, or the Conservative Party's got. The Conservative Party are arguing against the European Union in a totally different way to what we are. It was either the split in the Tory party is that Thatcher wanted to go with America as a trading bloc, and the other part in the Tory party wanted to go to Europe as a trading bloc. Some people accuse me at Rostrums that all you're really worried about, Bob, is keeping the Queen's having a £10 note. Well, I couldn't be care less of the Queen's having the Queen's arse, to be honest with you. It's on a £10 note. You can pay me in what you want. You can pay me in shackles, you can pay me in rubles, you can pay me in euros. I just want a maximum amount of money for working people for doing a day's work out there. So we see it quite clear that this treaty cements the European Union even further. It cements privatisation, it cements the break-up of the industry, and it cements a downward spiral against working people having the ability to defend themselves against these other people in other countries. Can I say that we're not anti-Malaysian, anti-Indonesian? Our entire railway system, our entire country has been built by immigrants. I mean, our view is that your nationality is purely an accident of birth. That's what really your nationality is. What we are against is two workers doing the same job for different rates of pay. So Malaysians, Indians, Pakistanis, Irish, Scottish, Welsh, you name it, we've got it, can work on our industries, so long as they get the best pay and the same pay as other people. That's what the exploitation is taking place. That's what's taking place, as I see it, not just in England, but this country as well. The markets have driven this situation where they have been allowing people to come into this country without proper migrant protection, purely on the basis to drive down the wages and conditions for those workers that are here. And what they should be doing to these people is embraced, brought into a trade union, and say the same people should get the same rate of pay, and the best possible rate of pay goes with it. And that's what we think the drive for the European Union is. That's why we're opposed to it. That's why we believe that people should vote no. And what people should decide is a democratic elected sovereign government that decides its own destiny through the ballot box, either at local level or in Parliament. Thank you very much.